let's talk about the next thing. Okay. Let's make this easy. Best job, worst job. I will start because...
I don't think I can answer that, but go ahead.
I knew you were going to say that, so I'm going to start. I want you to think about your answer. I'm going to start with the worst job. Worst job was not about the actual moment in time, but it was about the aftermath. I would say there was an episode of...
Do you want to name what you're doing?
Yeah, I don't care. I'm never going to get called back on the show. I think
Is it still on the air?
I don't think so. I did 3 episodes of... And they were like, hey, we really like you.
I felt really bad for you.
Yeah, they were like, I really like you. We really like you. And we'll call you back. So I do my 3rd episode of... Neil was like a lab technician. And I've been through this process twice already. So this is my 3rd time being through it. I don't remember exactly what happened, but the domino effect it had was pretty devastating to me.
Yeah, it was crazy. I don't know how that happened either.
To actually even get this recurring role, I went into the audition thoroughly prepared, and I do my first take, and they were like, cool, okay, all right, now this time they throw a note. This is typical. They're like, now we want you to do it this way. Mm-hmm. I'm ready to go. I'm like, yeah, sure. Action. And I start to say my lines, and I flub my line. Mm-hmm. I'm like, oh, sorry. I flub my line. It's okay.
Is that what you did?
Something like that. And all right, let's go again. No problem. No harm, no foul. It's not a big deal. It happens all the time.
And it's not a big deal. People mess up.
Action. I flub my line again.
Yeah. I remember you coming back from that audition. Whew.
And now...
in a bad mood.
My scalp starts to get very hot. And I start to sweat. Go again. Action.
You got really flustered.
And now I'm burning up.
Yeah.
And I am on fire. And I play it off. I'm like, I don't know what's going on right now. You've thrown me off, and I can't say the line. It's the simplest line. Sorry. And they're laughing, and I'm laughing nervously. I'm like, like a crazy person. They're like, go again. Okay, and this is a producer's callback, so there's like 12 people in the room.
Yeah.
And it's a boardroom. It's not an audition room. It's like a conference room with one of those giant, long tables and 50 seats around the table. And there's this weird thing. It's so awful. So I come home.
You were it's the worst.
It was one of the worst things I've
ever seen you in.
Worst thing I ever had.
Yeah.
And you were like, how'd it go? And I was like, bah! And I was just like livid.
Yeah, you were.
And I was just like, I shouldn't be an actor. I suck. Everything about my life sucks. Everything is the worst. And then about 45 minutes later, my agent goes, hey, you booked the job.
And I was just like, you suck.
Yeah, you were mad at me.
I was so worried about
you. You were mad at me because for 45 minutes, you felt like shit.
Well, also, if I come home saying I sucked at an audition, chances are I sucked at the audition.
For 45 minutes, you
booked it.
You were feeling the wrath of my misery.
Yeah, and I empathise.
I made you feel like shit for 45
But
minutes.
I empathise because I understand what it's like.
But I actually was shit. I was terrible. But for some reason, they were like, we can work with this guy. He's cool and easy to work with. So I booked the role. It's a recurring role.
Yeah.
I do episode 1. Went great. I do episode 2. Went great. I do episode 3. We're in rehearsals. And I have to say something like, the victim's name is Amanda Myers. Mm-hmm. And...
But you have to rush in, right? You had to run in and say that.
This is my memory. I could be wrong.
I think it was something like that.
But I end up saying like the victim's name is Amanda Knox because Netflix had just like released or somebody A&E had just released the Amanda Knox story.
Probably Lifetime or something. Yeah.
So I went. The victim's name is Amanda Knox, and wait, that's not right. Amanda Knox. Sorry, no, it's not Amanda Knox. It's Amanda Myers. And then every single person on set was just like. And they were like, go again. So I go again and I say the line correctly. And then we shoot the scene and I go home.
The way I remember it and was that didn't you like run in and then the 2 leads cracked up laughing because of how energetic you were delivering the news, and then you laughed along with them. And thought nothing of it, and then the writer thought you were taking the piss?
That might have been one of the takes.
Yeah. Also, there were a couple of.
But it wasn't. No, it wasn't about how energetic I walked. No, it wasn't about that. They were laughing about something. They were talking about their like vacation homes. Rosalie and Isles were like having a piss about something, a private conversation.
Yeah.
It wasn't about me. But then I burst in and I'm like taking it seriously, and they were still caught up on their funny story. That's what it was.
Oh, okay.
So that was like the first faux pas, was that we had to go again, and it seemed like I was the butt of the joke for some reason, even though I wasn't. They were like, sorry, no. They were still caught up on some story.
Yeah, they were laughing with you. Like,
right, because they weren't ready to go.
Yeah.
So then take two comes, and then I messed up I said Amanda Knox, and the line was like Amanda Myers, and I was like, wait, that's not right. It wasn't a big deal.
No big deal.
But we reset and we go again. And then we shoot the scene, and it's a whole long day. And the next day, this is the point of the story. This is where things went downhill really fast. My agent calls me and he says, what the hell happened yesterday? And I was like, what are you talking about? Why do you sound panicked? And he said, the same producer who said, hey, we really liked you in episode 1 and 2, so we thought we'd bring you back for episode 3. That same producer made a point to call the casting director and be like, James was not prepared for the scene. He didn't know his line. I had like 2 lines. Of course I knew my lines. But I said Amanda Knox by accident and laughed instead of Amanda Myers. And she made a point to communicate to the casting director. Then the casting director calls my agent and says, your client, James, me, was not prepared for his line. He didn't know his lines. And I said to my agent, I'm like, you're joking, right? Are you taking a piss right now? Are you having a laugh? You're doing a gag on me, because there's no way that's true. And he was like, I am 100% dead serious. And I'm like, I don't believe you, because that's not how it went down. That's not true. There's no way you're serious right now. And he said, James, I've never been more serious in my life. The casting director is livid. They launched a complaint against you.
Oh my God.
And I was never called back to the show again.
I know.
And my agent dropped me eventually. And
yeah, it took some time.
And never returned a phone call of mine after that happened. And
it was the agent then moved on.
The agent left that agency. So I stayed with the actual agency, but my personal agent left the company and wouldn't return my emails or phone calls like soon after that happened. Yeah. So fuck you. But also, like, that was one of the worst experiences I ever had as a professional actor because it was thoroughly unjust and unwarranted.
I mean, it's definitely a case of he said, she said. Like, it's not fair.
I don't know why they took such a beef with it.
Yeah, it's not fair to put, like, the day player co-star who is in a foreign environment, really, in a
It
position.
wasted all of 5 seconds of the day.
Exactly. Like,
it was like a 5-second, reset, go back to 1.
How many times does series, like, at that exact moment, the series regulars were goofing off?
Yeah, everybody was laughing and having a good time.
They didn't get complaints.
And it was literally like a tiny little brain fart of me saying Amanda Knox.
Yeah.
Because the Amanda Knox story was on Lifetime, and we had, like, watched it. And then it was that simple and quick. It was like a 5-second, reset back to 1. So that was likely that was like 10 years ago.
I mean, at the end of the day, you're still, it wasn't quite 10 years ago, was it? No. 8? Yeah.
I don't know. But the point is, I to this day, I don't know what went wrong or why it was justified.
There are people, and, like, they're people, and you don't, maybe they were just looking for someone to, like, take it out on. And
no idea.
As a co-star, you're, like, lower on the totem pole. So
yeah,
I don't know. It's stupid. Why would you make a point of calling the casting director and trying to sabotage someone else's career for something that was like an everyday error?
I don't think I was called into that casting office much more after that as a result. So I've been able to work and have a career since, so whatever. But yeah, there was definitely something. There were some lasting effects from that one little thing. So we just got real. We just got raw with some of our experiences. You've never had quite an experience like that.
I mean, look, I've had not like that. That would devastate me. One of my first network
It
credits.
didn't devastate me though.
It would devastate me.
It pissed me off. And to this day,
Something
I'm
like
pissed
that
off.
would maybe make me
But
rethink if this was the career for me.
I've since been able to work and have a career, and so
But I've been dropped twice
a lot of
by
people.
agents.
A lot of people have been dropped by agents. That's a recurring annual
That's normal.
process of every part of the business.
I mean, I've had notes given to me that were not flattering. A lot.
You're such a good actor. How could that be?
Not everyone's cup of tea.
Do you want to get into that?
Well, no. I mean, generally speaking, I've had everything from not thin enough, not beautiful enough,
What?
and I've also
The
had
heck? You got those notes
yeah,
specifically, and somebody communicated that back to you?
a lot. Yeah.
This
I
is
mean,
the
a
difference-
lot of it's like passed down. It's not maybe direct.
This is the difference between men and women. Men have never been given those notes.
I've
That's some
also had,
bullshit right
and then I mean, those you take with a grain of salt if you're okay. Like I have okay self-esteem, but in terms of my abilities, I really take it personally. And I've also had, I've had notes written on, like cast,
Yeah.
CAZT,
Yeah.
that I've read that are just kind of not very nice.
Oh wow.
Just like,
I've never looked at those.
But they don't always publish them. Some of them do. They don't have to, though.
And you're able to look at them?
You can if they make them public.
Do you think what they said was unfair?
Maybe not, because honestly, like, you don't know.
Because I've blown auditions.
I think the physical things are unfair to say, but yeah, like, I think that we've signed up to be actors. It's about interpretation and what's kind of people's like tastes.
Have you ever blown an audition where you were like, yeah, I blew that audition?
I've blown so many.
I've
I've blown so many.
All right, so tell me an example of an audition that you like. Why did you blow it? Was it a choice you made, or did you just not get anxious and not perform up to what
I
you
mean,
wanted
it's
to do?
probably been a mixture, but the one that stands out to mind was like I decided to audition probably too soon after having my baby.
Because your focus goes away from career to the opposite end of the spectrum of being a mother for the
I
first
think
time.
mothers get, personally speaking, but I think I can also speak for some of my actor friends, when they become mothers, you have 9 months, maybe 6 of those where you can't really work unless it's for pregnant roles or if they're able to have a pregnant person working. And then, the baby's born and you're tied up with that, and then you have your whole trying to get back in shape and all of that. So there's a long period of time where whether it's like a mental thing for you or the industry's just not accepting you can't work. And I started auditioning for pilots, it was only like a couple of months after Cooper was born. I was breastfeeding. Cooper wasn't sleeping. I was a mess. But I was so eager to get back into the industry that I'm like, yep, I'm ready. And, I remember one pilot audition. I was prepared, but I was also incredibly sleep deprived. I got all gussied up and like went to the audition. It was like this kind of cool like record producer like role. So it was, really cool. So like, I tried to disguise the mum belly and, and I just blew it. Like I don't think I made bad choices, but I couldn't remember my lines. It was probably much like the audition you just described. He had to do take after take, and I could almost feel the casting director just kind of be like, to like throw his hands up.
It's not that you couldn't remember your lines, but when the moment came, you couldn't say the lines.
I couldn't speak them.
Because you and I remember our lines for auditions.
Well, my memory still wasn't that good because remember I had no sleep and I was breastfeeding and I'd just given birth.
But when it comes down to it, it's not that you can't remember the lines because that sounds like you're not prepared.
I was prepared. I was
prepared. But then when they're like, and action. And you have to say the lines that you remember. Your brain malfunctions.
I could see the casting director. I think he really wanted me.
When you're under pressure for the audition, sometimes every actor will go through this. Hopefully, God bless you, it doesn't happen all the time. But when the pressure's on, if your brain and your overwhelmed nature takes over,
for sure.
If that is greater than your ability to just be like, whatever, relax.
Yeah.
Then you will go up on your line and be like, and I'm going to tell you for the last time.
Yeah, you're not in it. I just
and then you forget your line.
And he just kind of was like, okay, thank you. Like I could, because casting directors want you to do well because they want to cast the role.
Film. They want to go home.
I get it. And then like I left like dejected, and then I was in these heels, and I hadn't worn heels for a long time because I'd just gone through a pregnancy, and then motherhood, heels aren't really required, but I had these heels on, and
Did you just start crying?
I fell down the stairs.
Wait, oh yeah, I remember
in front of people. It was
how many stairs?
Oh, I can't remember. It was an old building, so it was several. It was a flight.
Terrible.
And it would just add, because I was just humiliated enough, and then I fell down the stairs in front of everyone. Well, not everyone. In my mind,
when you say fell
everyone.
down, what does that mean? Does that look like, I slipped a step and I caught myself?
No, I fell down several steps.
Did I know about this?
I think I came home like beside myself, and I probably garbled it as I was trying to tell the whole story.
That's really sad.
And that was recently. Well, relatively recently. Like, I've been doing this for 20 years.
Two
experiences like that still happen to this day. Like,
that's probably 2 years ago.
Yeah, but that's
pretty recent.
That's recent.
I don't know if you ever told me.
For someone who's worked for a long time.
You might have told me, like, you slipped. I don't recall you ever saying to me you fell downstairs.
Wait, no, do you remember? And then I emailed my agent saying, I don't really think I did as well as I could. Is it possible to, like, self-tape again? And you send it. Do you remember I got you to self-tape the role again?
I've self-taped you hundreds of times, so I don't know.
Yeah, you probably don't. But, I mean, talk about desperate. I was like, oh my God, I've got to fix this.
Hey, it was worth a shot. You did everything you could.
Well, I knew they were accepting self-tapes. So it wasn't like I was going out on a limb.
We're so old that self-tapes are a relatively new thing to us. If I had the option to self-tape again as a second at bat, I would love to do that.
You're allowed to use it as a second.
Chris Hemsworth got Thor with a second tape.
That's right. You did just tell me
that. Makes me think of an example. I think it was like, what was the thing that was like Jada Pinkett Smith's Nurse Jackie? She had like a Lifetime nurse show.
Not Nurse Jackie.
It was like that. It was before Nurse. She had like a nurse show. So I had a audition to be like a basketball punk who spoke really street, playing basketball, college age kid, and I had just binge watched like season 5, final season of The Wire. And the best character of The Wire is Idris Elba's Stringer Bell. Everybody can agree him and Omar are like the two best characters of the whole season. It's probably my favorite show of all time. So I just like binged watched the final season of The Wire, and Stringer Bell is just the most cool MFer you've ever seen in your life. The guy and the actor doesn't open his mouth when he speaks. And he was so effective for 5 seasons, just being like, I'm gonna tell you what it is. The flip side, man. Come on. That was terrible. But that's essentially how he speaks. So I get this audition.
I can't see what the show is.
And it's for this kid playing basketball, and he's getting investigated by the cops about a murder in Fresno. And the guy had been known to be playing basketball at this park. And I'd be like, Fresno. That was basically how I decided to do the audition. Because he goes on this monologue that's just nonsensical and has absolutely no point to the plot. So I'm thinking beyond script analysis onto a whole new level.
Like, let me be the next Idris Elba.
I forgot that this was TV. If this was like an independent film, somebody might have liked me. But this was like Lifetime television where everything has to be explicitly
and
told.
Also, you were a co-star, so you're there to
be like,
the story.
Well, that guy's name was Franco, and Franco was a really tough guy who could really ball. So instead of saying, man, I thought it was my friend, no, I thought I could really ball him up. I just went into the Stringer Bell. I'm going to be making a bold, brave choice as an actor. And not
co-stars are not for bold, brave choices.
So I imitated Idris Elba. Now, mind you, I had booked a feature film, a small feature film, but I was the lead. I booked a lead in an indie feature film that shot in Thailand, imitating Vic Mackey from The Shield, one of my other favorite shows. I literally went into this audition and did a 100% imitation of the lead actor from The Shield. And Michael Chiklis is the actor's name.
Yeah.
I watched all 7 or 8 seasons of The Shield. It went on the same time as The Wire. Those were my 2 favorite cop shows of all time. And I had just been reinforced with this idea of my imitation of another actor will still look original because I'm so different from them.
Yeah.
Michael Chiklis is a short, bald, stocky guy, and I'm a tall, I was at the time very athletic looking Asian guy. And I had an audition for a cop, and so I'm I'm going to just do Michael Chiklis from The Shield.
Bend it through you.
And I spoke through my teeth, and I got really, really intense. And I imitated Michael Chiklis from The Shield, and I booked this lead role, and I went to Thailand for 5 weeks, and it was the best time ever. And
not as an actor, as a person.
Oh, the acting part was terrible. Yeah. That's a whole. I had a horrible.
That's a
time
whole
as an
nother
actor.
story.
But it was still the best time of my life.
Yeah.
So a week goes by, and I'm back in LA, and now I'm I have to audition for this basketball kid as a street thug.
You thought suddenly you were.
So I did Idris Elba, and I was like, I know the ball from friend, no.
The casting director said.
She was like, "Is that how you're gonna do it?" I was like, "Do you want me to do it again?" And she was like, "Not if you don't want to." And I was like, "Okay, bye." And I walked out of the room. I never, ever, ever went back to that auditioning casting office ever again.
Well, they say make bold choices. That's a confusing thing. Everyone's like,
my acting teacher at the time kept forcing our head to make bold choices and to be unique.
And that's where I think actors starting out get confused. Definitely make bold choices, make it your own. That's totally true. But know what your role is there to do. If your role is there to just say, he was the greatest baller in Fresno, just say that.
But don't make artistic choices.
And also know
when you're a co-star for a Lifetime movie.
And know what the audience is as well. If you were auditioning for
The
Wire.
how does somebody know that? Is it common sense or is it?
Well, these days there's so many resources to know what unless it's a pilot. I mean, if you can't get access to the whole script, then that's hard. Mm-hmm. But other than that, you can look up IMDb. You can watch. You can stream stuff everywhere. It's easy.
I'll tell a quick story. While I'm embarrassed about that audition, there's another audition I'm not embarrassed by, and that was a Billy Crystal Bette Midler movie where there was this throwaway role that was a Chinese waiter, and the role ultimately went to the guy that played Leonardo. I love him. He's faced a tremendous amount of backlash over that character. Don't need to get into that. The man himself, love him to death. I know him personally. Have nothing bad to say about him. But the character did cast a lasting shadow on what it means to be a progressive Asian actor in this industry. So I get an audition for this rom-com that went ultimately nowhere, but I love Billy Crystal. I love Bette Midler, icons, and it's for this Chinese
delivery
waiter. It was a waiter, And the lines don't say anything about an accent. It's something like, "Oh, hey, Billy, good to see you again. I know what you like. You love the Kung Pao chicken. Hey, Audrey, I love you." Like, it's a familiar...
It's just like, yeah, hey, guys, what can I get you kind of thing.
Yeah, and like he knows the family.
Yeah.
So he's just like, I know what you want, and I know what you want. What about the grandparents? I don't know the grandparents. And it's Billy Crystal and Bette Midler. So I do the scene, straight up.
Like, as you, James. Yeah.
And every Asian actor has this experience where the casting director was like the associate. She was like 22. I was like in my 30s, so I was like 10 years older than her. But she was like, okay, the director actually wants to see this role done with an accent. And every actor that's a minority has been through this, where they're just like, really? Really? And they're ready to go with either I'm going to do it or I'm not going to do it. So I just go, okay. And I'd already been married to you at this point. So I decided to do my accent as the crocodile hunter. And I go, hello, Audrey. Good to see you there, mate.
Oh my God.
How you doing tonight? Oh, no, you want the Kung Pao chicken, eh? I do the whole scene that way.
I don't know what that accent is, but...
I was doing the croc hunter. And her face just like... is just utter confusion. And we go through the scene terribly. And I just feel good about myself with my arms crossed. I'm like, yeah, that's how I'm going to do it. And then she's like, is that what you're going to go with? And I'm like, you want an accent? There's an accent. And then she says, we were actually thinking about like a Chinese accent because this is a Chinese restaurant. And I said, that's not necessary because the script doesn't say the character has a Chinese accent. And, we've seen that so many times. There's no need for that again. And then she goes,
I would never do that in a million years.
okay, thanks for coming in. Bye. Never went into that casting office.
But
that
that for you was a political thing.
And they kept, God bless him. He got his money. That's all that matters.
That was it. That was a different thing. I wouldn't encourage actors to do that unless they feel as strongly as you felt.
And you know what? Actually, I think I'll mention this. What prompted me was I heard the guy before me.
Yeah, go from American.
The reason you said in the previous podcast,
Yeah.
you put your headphones in, you don't want to hear the person go before you.
Yeah.
I heard through the thin wall and the thin door, the person go before me, do it straight.
So he just was
and
like
then do
American.
it again with an accent.
Can you do an example?
He was like, oh, hello, Audrey. No, I can't. Yes, I can, but I won't.
Yeah, but like we all know what that
the
Chinese restaurant delivery
accent.
guy
and I
waiter
heard him do it again, so it almost inserted in my head. I'm like, did they just make him do it again? And then 20 seconds later, they're like, James, and I went in and I did it straight, and then sure enough, when they said it, I think it just triggered an automatic response out of me, where I was just like, F you, you want an accent? Here's an accent.
Jeez.
And yeah,
one of the hardest accents to do is
it's one of my proudest moments.
Yeah, I get it.
And yet I've never been called back.
It didn't help your career.
That casting director has never called me back into that office. And they cast big movies.
You have to see what's the most important thing. If you felt so strongly, and obviously you did, about that situation, then great. But you can't, you got to kind of know that everything has consequences.
I auditioned with the biggest F-U attitude of my entire life.
Yeah.
Because they had the gall to say, at this day and age, can you do it again with an accent? That is one of the biggest cliched faux pas in this industry. The fact that I got hit with it again.
Yeah, it was like the breaking point.
Yeah, it tipped me over the edge. I'm like, this shit again?
Yeah.
And, that's the sort of thing that minority actors have to go through.
Yeah.
Whereas, we said earlier, your struggle is that... Your struggle is that the quantity of beautiful white women in this industry... The quantity of people coming to this town to make it as actors is so large.
But we age out of it. And
it's an opposite end of the struggle.
And then we don't. That is one thing. Like, I'm probably not going to be dealing with it so much now that I'm in my 30s, late 30s, mid to late 30s.
25 to 47.
18 to 40. I'm now like, I feel like I'm not going to be dealing with that as much, but that sucks as well. That I've aged out of being like in the beautiful category. That sucks. Anyway.
You're not. What are you talking about?
Well, I have. Now I'm playing like comely like mums and, you know.
It's a lovely place to be.
Yes.
Did we cover everything we wanted to
Yeah,
cover?
I don't know. We're going on a bit, so
We're going
let's
on a
wrap
bit,
it up.
but I feel like it was an interesting talk.
Yeah, it was interesting to us. You can take it or leave it.
It was passionate.
Yeah.
And that's what matters.
Yeah.
So I hope this was helpful. I hope it was informative. If nothing else, I hope it was entertaining. That's what we're here for.
Seen it this far. We
Right,
might be talking to no one right now.
Final thoughts?
No.
No? Done?
No.
You're done. You're expired.
Thoughts
She's
spent.
ready to go to sleep.
It's way past my bedtime now. Oh my god.
Yeah, it's late.
Bye.
Okay. That's
Peace.
it. We're out of here. Hope you keep tuning in. We're going to come up next time with some more interesting topics. Not just about acting, but about life. I just thought that talking about showbiz was something that people want to know about, because we've both been asked many, many times by aunts, uncles, friends being like, oh, my niece is wanting to move to LA to be an actor. Can you meet up with them and tell them what it's like? So
they can just watch this instead, and we can just go and sleep.
That was a bit of an impetus for this podcast, to just sort of dump everything we know that we can share in a short period of time.
Because as they say, there's no business like show business, like no business I know. Triple threat right here.
Top hat and cane right there.
Triple threat.
What are your three?
Singing, obviously.
Obviously.
Acting.
Dancing. You're a singer, actor, and dancer.
Interpretive movementing.
What's my triple threat? An actor.
Acting. Taekwondoing.
That's a triple threat? Okay.
Yeah, martial arts is important. And bravado.
That's a skill?
Definitely. Wish I had more.
Bravado sounds shallow.
No. Well, okay, maybe that's the wrong. Confidence. No, that's not it. That's not meant to be an insult.
Huh.
That's a good thing.
I'll agree with that.
Like, it's a good thing. Like, you know, water off a duck's back. Shake it off.
In that, I have confidence to go out for a role, and when I don't get the role, I'm not crushed by it. I'm
Whereas
just like,
I kind of am. And that's what I admire about you.
When you don't get a role...
I do. It takes me a few days to mourn.
You have a few days of just being upset about it, where I'm just like, whatever.
Yeah.
Like, it really just rolls off my back.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's confidence or just a basic understanding of the industry where I don't take it personally.
Yeah.
Whatever it is. Anyway.
Okay. Bye.
Okay.
Sorry.
We're signing off.
Keeping you for too long.
That's the Vegas table.
Chess hands.
No, that's the blackjack dealer.
Okay. We're still talking.
Bye.
Probably not watching.